Hello everybody and welcome to this year's Pride Collab for 2024. I am Mitch and welcome to Rain and Pours. Today I am painting on this monstrous beast of a surface. This is a piece that I found from Maya, which is a department store here in Sydney or in Australia. And these were on clearance. This is a 1 meter round artwork. It's actually 2 boards with a piece of styrofoam sandwiched between. And it has a frame, which is a rubber strip that goes all the way around. So it protects the edges and makes everything look nice and neat. Today I'm doing another one of my awesome swipes. I'm really happy with how they're turning out. So I thought I'd do another one today. Now the theme is Pride. It's part of the Pride Month collab. So I'm going to do a rainbow swipe starting with pinks and reds on the outside, working my way into blues and purples. And it's going to look sort of like a diamond. So I want the blue and purple taller and then everything fading out to the side. How many colors am I using? I am using 40 colors today. I have lots of paints mixed up. I mixed up a few fresh ones and I'm gonna get started because this is gonna take me a very long time to swipe out. So you probably won't hear me talking from here on out. You might hear my voiceover. So let's get cracking. Alright, so it's voiceover Mitch here, and you can see I am pouring on my base coat of paint. So the paint that I'm using is titanium white acrylic paint by Marvin Art, and I have that mixed into a pouring medium. Now I have 2 different pouring mediums that I used for this. I've got Liquitex gloss medium, which is the lime green label, mixed 3 parts Australian Floetrol to 1 part gloss medium. I believe it could be a little higher, it's a little different. I do have a video earlier on my channel with my swipe recipe, and I also have a mixture of Solid Solutions pouring medium. I was giving that a go and trying that out, and it worked out beautifully. This piece turned out fantastic. It's now currently hanging on the wall in my home, and I'm so proud of this piece. So funny that it's a Pride collab, and this is the piece that I'm most proud of. It really did turn out fantastic. So I'm just popping all of the bubbles there. I have my paints quite thin. They're not quite as thin as a Dutch pour. They do still have a bit of body to them. And I have over 40 different colors mixed up using that same mixture over the course of the last year or 2. Just pouring on my paints and yeah, saving them up. And you can see I made a mistake here. It's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to pour that color all the way on across the surface there. And like I said, this is a 1 meter by 1 meter painting, so it is quite large. I had to modify my studio to fit this in and move everything around just so I could get the table in there. And I am using a mixture of paints from all different brands. I've got Matisse, I've got Amsterdam, I've got so many different paint brands in here. Most importantly, I'm using This Little Piggy pigments, and they make everything sparkle and shimmer, and you can get those at fluid-art.co. And I'm just swiping on my colors with some damp paper towel. So I learned this technique from Cos Creations from Kathleen Osmore, and just following some of her tutorials on her YouTube channel. And the paper towel that I'm using is Viva paper towel, and it's got some ribs on it, like it's got a pattern throughout the towel, so it's a nice wavy pattern. And what I do is I cut it with the pattern and I cut it against the pattern. So the ones that I cut against the pattern, similar to how you would cut a steak against the grain, the ones I cut against the pattern give me these really pretty lines that I like, and when you cut with the pattern you get a flat edge. I also have some paper towel that does have a natural flat edge, so I use that as well. So for each color, so I had pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. I had mixed up at least 4 or 5 different versions of that color. And you can see I'm applying that on just on top of each other, not caring too much where I put it. I started with the pink on the outside to get a feel for how the flow is going to go, but then I go into the middle with my purple and my blue just so I know where my center is. So I did try and mark the center. I did try and mark lines on the side so I get a nice straight line. That didn't work out, and the joke that I keep making is the line at the end doesn't end up straight, but then neither am I, so what does it matter? So you can see here I'm laying on my blue, my purple, getting a feel for where that's going to lay, going with the green, and I'm just going to continue laying these on for the next couple of minutes. So I will stop talking, I'll let you watch, but yeah, you can see how each different paint mixture gives a different reaction. So I'm just using different size pieces of paper, couple of different cell mixes here. There's no silicone in any of this, it's just Floetrol and pouring medium plus the paint. So I'll let you sit back and enjoy, and I'll come back when I need to. I thought I would quickly jump in here as well and take the chance while I've got the platform to promote my in-person Shelee Art Bloom classes. If you live in Sydney, Australia and you're anywhere near Penrith, I'm hosting Bloom classes. I have another one on the 15th of June this year, so that will be the weekend after this airs. So if you are interested in learning how to bloom from Australia's only instructor, that's me, I will be happy to teach you. The classes go for about 2 hours. I'll teach you everything you need to know about how to nail those consistencies, the blow, everything, all my tips and tricks about how to master the bloom. It's really fun, really worth it. So head to my website rainandpours.com.au, check it out and get your tickets there. I hope to see you there. Now, one of the challenges I faced when creating this piece was I'm using a white background, and white is always very tricky to try and keep perfectly clean. It was quite cool in my studio, so at one point I was wearing a jacket and I also wore a brand new apron. Now that was a mistake because that brand new apron had black fluff all through it, so I did constantly have to go and pick fluff out of my painting. So definitely don't wear a brand new apron, especially if you're doing something on white, and it does help to have an air purifier running in your studio, especially if you're doing anything with a white background or anything with resin. That will just help keep the dust out of the air. And if you can't afford an air purifier or don't have an air purifier, spritzing the area with water and just misting the air first can help all of that dust settle to the bottom. Obviously do that before you put your artwork down on the table or pour your base coat so that the dust doesn't settle into it. Here's a little bit of a close-up and a pan view of what I'm doing, and I wanted to do this because some of those cell reactions I was getting were really cool, and you'll see in just a little bit I put some blue over that middle part and it just cells up like crazy and it was fantastic. So now I'm just touching up all of the white areas, like I said, picking out little bits of fluff, making sure that there are no droplets of color in the white. At first I wanted to keep this a pure white background, just with that line of color in the middle. I thought that would make a really nice dynamic contrast, but I ended up changing my idea, and I didn't film a lot of this because I couldn't get the right camera angles, but you will see in the final piece exactly what I did, and I was really happy that I did that. And just there I took my blowtorch and popped a lot of those bubbles and used it to create some cells where I can. So here's a nice close-up of how everything looks while it's wet, and you can see the colors are super vibrant. They're really pretty. I used some of those neon piggies in there, and look at all of those This Little Piggy pigments giving that gorgeous sparkle. This is why I love them so much. They have such an even distribution of shimmer, and I used a mixture of shimmery paints, pigments in this, and I tried to have a mixture of at least 2 paint colors and 1 pigment for each color variation. So now I'm back, and I don't know if you can see just down in the bottom there, I ended up going on with some interference pigments. So again, This Little Piggy colors, and I had a couple of Ghost Chameleons that I had when I bought early on. So I've painted those onto my dried white background. Now I'm going on with some Atelier Heavy Gloss Gel and doing my, what I'm going to call my signature technique, because I don't think I've seen anybody else do this yet, not the way that I do it anyway. So I've got the gloss gel there, and I'm going on with some crushed mirror that's from IKEA. And the reason I do it this way is because the gel gloss dries to a nice hard finish, but it also dries perfectly clear. So the mirror will actually look like it's just stuck straight on top of the color, and it won't dry white. Then I'm going on with some crushed, it's called diamond dust. It's just crushed glass bits. Please, if you're going to do this, make sure you wear some gloves. And once I've got that on there, I tilt off all of the excess just onto my puppy pads, and I'm going to save that for later. So I just, once everything's dry, I'll just scrape that back into my jar, ready for the next project. Now the crushed glass won't adhere as well as the mirror, so what I do is I grab my spray varnish and I use that as an adhesive. So I wet the area with the spray varnish first, and then I go on with the crushed glass and just apply it in the areas that I want it to. So I really love this sort of dripping icicle effect, and I'm going to apply that. I use my fingers while everything is still dry so I can shape it how I want. And then once everything is in place, I do a light mist of the varnish to sort of just settle everything in place, and then I do a really heavy coat just over the glass parts so it sinks into all of that glass and holds it on nice and tight. Now you do have to be careful when you're handling this. Don't put your fingers directly into it like I did. There is a bald spot, but I'm not too fussed about it. It's not noticeable at all. And you can sort of see where I've brushed on all of that chameleon pigment and the interference pigment. And here is the final piece. I decided to go over all that interference pigment with the glass as well. And this artwork came with a rubber frame that goes around the outside, and I could not be happier with this piece. It is so pretty. It's so vibrant, so sparkly, and when I have my lights on in my home, it really highlights all of those interference pigments, and you can see it just looks like ice dripping down from the top of the piece. And it's a rainbow that you can see and a rainbow that you don't see straight away, but as soon as you walk in and you see those lights hitting the top of that, it just looks fantastic. There's that little bald spot where I picked it up and my finger went and scraped the glass off. So yeah, just be really careful when you're handling these sorts of things and when you're hanging them up. But the varnish is plenty to secure everything down there. And you can see down the bottom here, you can see that color change from blue to green, pink to orange. And yeah, in the right lighting, they're just these most beautiful pastel chameleon colors. So I'm super proud of this piece. I can't wait for you to see all of the other artists in this amazing collaboration. I'm so happy to be invited back each year to do this collab. I think this is the second or third year that I've been invited to do it now, and I'm so proud to be part of a community that's so welcoming and accepting, and you know, just shows so much love to each other. So this is the final piece, guys. I hope you love this as much as I do. This one's hanging on my wall, and yeah, share the love, celebrate pride, and stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.